Hello, welcome to the SDSU intro video describing our vision for math learning communities as part of the STEM START program. As you know, advances in technology and scientific discovery have enabled huge changes in how we live, how long we live, how we communicate. That's just to name a few. The bad news is that there's not enough people interested in learning the basic math and science principles to keep this momentum going. Companies are looking to universities to address the lack of STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, and math majors, so that we can get more qualified workers. SDSU is not alone. The average failure rate for pre-calc, Calc 1, and Calc 2 is unacceptably high all across America, ranging from well over 60% in some universities to a more comfortable 10% in others. SDSU falls somewhere around 35 to 40% failure rate, but we find this completely unacceptable. There are, of course, myriad reasons why people fail. Some of the most cited are that students don't feel a part of a class, especially if it's a very large class. There's a lack of active learning opportunities. Students do not study effectively, and commuters are not able to attend evening review sessions. So how are we going to address this problem? Our goal is to increase the quality and quantity of STEM majors. Again, there are lots of reasons students struggle. They don't know how to study, they don't know the system, they lack the active learning opportunities, and they don't feel part of the class. So our solution is threefold. We want to include lab breakout sessions, learning communities, and we have opened up the Aztec Math Center. So let's look at how learning communities look in pre-calculus. It used to be, in the olden days, that there was 3 lectures in pre-calculus. Now we have 2 lectures and then a lab breakout session. Then the learning communities meet 2 days a week. It's going to be Mondays and Wednesdays, and they will come on Mondays after the lab and then on Wednesdays to prepare for Thursday's lecture. And then you'll have online homework and then start the cycle again. All the learning communities look like this. Everyone goes to lecture on Tuesday, Thursday from 11 to 12:25. Due to scheduling issues, we had a 5-minute unaccounted for period, but we'll take that into account and give people a break for sure. Then they go to the labs, either Monday or Wednesday, where they're going to do active learning to look at how the functions that we're learning actually relate to real-world applications. Then the learning communities meet twice a week, as I showed you. And you can see there are 4 learning communities for the Compact for Success, there's 4 for STEM START, and there's 1 for the MESA program, which is a program for engineers. These are all required classes. We have found that requiring students to come actually supports a community building activity because everyone is there every week and you feel really comfortable because there's only about 12 or 13 students in your learning community breakouts. As you can see, 2 learning community breakouts go to 1 lab. So the lab is about 26, 27 people. Now in calculus prior to 2015, there were 3 lectures and then there was a recitation 1 day a week. We've now added a lab for the calculus as well. So you have a recitation, a lab, and 3 lectures. Also, for the learning communities within calculus, we have now added 2 learning communities that meet Tuesdays and Thursdays. So what do we do in these learning communities, in these small groups of 13 or 14? Well, let's go back to what we know about why students struggle in these classes. They say they don't know how to study. They haven't really ever, maybe you never actually read a textbook because in high school the teacher would go over everything, so you never really needed to. Unfortunately, at the college level, the teachers don't have time to go through absolutely everything, and so you have to read the textbook. Also, students don't know the system. How do you talk to a professor? How do you become a self-advocate? There's also help for social concerns. The learning communities are designed to support you in more ways than just the math itself. We really want you to know we care about this, we care about the success of the system, and we really want to be there rather than having you feel as though no one is on your side. Active learning is a new idea, somewhat speaking. In a famous study of 350 smaller studies showed that students in a traditional lecture course are 1.5 times more likely to fail than students in courses with active learning. We find this to be really important. Now, what do you think active learning is? Well, it's really anything where we ask you to turn to a partner and talk, or work on something on your own and then submit an answer via an interactive system such as a clicker or your cell phone, or maybe you get in groups and you work together to solve problems. Finally, if you don't feel part of the class, we think that the learning communities are going to really help in this way. The study groups help you feel like there's someone who will study with you, much like exercise. You know, sometimes if you go and work out with someone, you're more likely to keep it up. People notice if you're not in these learning communities, and we will follow up to make sure that everything is okay. So, as I said earlier, the active learning challenge might be something like function dominoes, where you work with a group of students to match up. Or we could do, in the labs, modeling a ball rolling down a plank, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. So that's the example of learning communities. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the Aztec Math Center, and then I'll talk a little bit about the lab breakouts. So the Aztec Math Center is located in Love Library, room 410. I should say it will be. It's currently not there, but we're working to open by September 1st. Here is the way it looks on the outside right now. There's a study area in the top floor, well, the fourth floor of Love Library, and it's going to look like this. We're going to add a real nice opening, and we want you to know that you're welcome to stop by anytime for regardless of whether you need help with pre-calculus, calculus, any of the lower division math courses, or even stat courses, and in the future, computer science courses. The welcome desk will be where you will check in, and the hours will be Monday through Thursday, 9 to 8, Friday, 9 to 3, and Sunday from about 2 to 5 p.m. It's a great way to find a tutor at any time that you need it, rather than waiting to try to find the TA and ask when the TA office hours are, which might not work for your schedule. So we also are going to offer some online tutoring, which means if you live, for example, far away in Sweetwater or something of that commuting distance, then you might be able to get help online with a real person. And as I said, we're working with different levels and subjects. So here's a quiz. Where is the Aztec Math Center? And is it open on Sundays? Can you remember? The Aztec Math Center is located in Love Library, room 410. And yes, it's going to be open on Sundays, probably from either 2 to 5 or 3 to 6. Okay, so I talked about the Aztec Math Center. I'll talk a little bit now about what do I mean by these lab breakouts. So here's some examples of what we do in labs. We are hoping that people feel as though what we're doing in the pre-calc or the calculus does have connections with what you're going to need in the future. So as I said, there are about 28 people in each breakout. And you're going to work on context-based problems that require explanations and modeling, discussions, maybe graphing, maybe some extended research. But the goal is to connect math to your passion. So maybe you're not interested in music. Maybe you're interested in something else. We're going to have a lot more opportunity for you to pursue something that you find interesting.